IBN INGLOR, welcome to Mint. Thank you for being on, my guy. How you doing?
Doing good. Tired of shit, but making it happen, man.
Tired of shit. New baby and everything I was told behind the scenes.
Yes, yes. Kicking my ass, kicking me and the ladies' ass.
How do you find time to do the creative stuff and be a full-time dad?
Bro, I be pulling energy out of the air. For real, for real. I just be fucking particles. Like just whatever could keep me going for like a minimum amount of time until until I crash. That's pretty much it for real. Like it's just because it's so nonstop that I have to basically just keep going, going, going until like I just crash out for like a couple hours or some shit like that. It's like,
Wild.
yeah, it
We
just
love to
doesn't
see it
stop.
though. The hustles as well and alive. I think a good place to start this episode, Ibn, is who are you, man? What does the world need to know about you? But more specifically, how'd you get your start into crypto?
So my name is Ibn Inglor. I'm an artist from the south side, far south side of Chicago, a place called Allgill Gardens. I started making music professionally in 2013. That's when I established the Ibn Inglor name and the brand on multiple publications. I was making sure that my name was seen every day or every other day when I was releasing music, whether it was on Fake Shore Drive, DJ Booth, On Smash, fucking Pursuit of Dopeness, Ruby Hornet. If you guys know about them, like I was making sure that like I was recording songs, mixing them, and putting them out like the very next day or 2 days after I had just put out another song because I'm like people need to see my name, know my name, and the more familiar they get with my name, then the more or the faster I become a household name. So um, when I got into crypto and Web3, it was around last year, around March of last year, but I really got into it like fully, like around May. So when March came, my friend was telling me about it. I minted a couple pieces on Zora, and then I basically just like walked away from my computer. I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I don't know what's to this. I'm very
Mm,
naive. I'm very naive about the space. And it was new waters. So that was another thing that was I was kind of hesitant on. And it was a whole bunch of life shit going on at that time. And then that was before, baby number two. So um March came, minted some pieces, and then dipped, went on a trip in April, and then my dad passed early May, or no, mid-May. So that kind of like stifled like any initiative to learn about Web3 or any like ambitions to even figure out what was really in this space
mhm.
and shit like that. So um, come late, like a couple weeks after my dad passed, I want to say I sold either my first or my second piece on catalog because I had got hit up by Alex Cyber, who used to write for Pigeons and Planes, or I don't know if he still does, but he writes for Pigeons and Planes, and he had contacted me about like, yo, like, I seen you signed up to be on a wait list. I used to listen to your music and shit back in 2000, like back when I was in high school.
Ooh,
That's what he. I was like, damn. So I was like, okay,
damn.
bet. And he was like, yeah, like we're like the push your application through to get you onboarded onto catalog. And I was like, all right, bet. Put my song up there. Within like 5 minutes of like my first mint, I got a bid. And I was like,
Wow.
what? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, cool. I kind of like, not that I downplayed it at all, but I just didn't really up it like I was supposed to. And then my lady was the one that kind of told me like, nah, like, you made, you officially made, money off your music. Like you did that. That's what just happened. So I had to kind of take it as a win, and because it really was. And then I went on to sell a second piece, and then I was like, okay, cool. That's when I started. After the second piece was sold, and I kind of had time to wind down from um like my dad leaving. I built my
Mm,
PC, so I kept my mind pretty much working. And then at that time I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do a whole deep dive into Twitter and Web3. And I just hopped on Twitter, start following people. I was not active on Twitter for like the last 4 years of my career up until like this fucking world came to be the world that I wanted to jump into for real. So when I did that, it was lovely. It was fucking lovely. Yeah. So that's kind of how I really got into it. I was like testing the waters and 1 foot in, 1 foot
That's
out.
wild. That's wild. So this hustle that you keep talking about, like that's how I met you, right? Like the
Yeah.
I like one of my questions to
Yes.
you is like the root of your hustle. Like where do you find the root of like what's the root of your hustle? What's the root of your curiosity? Because I got this DM from you saying like, "Hey Levy, uh I'm throwing this crowd fund, like it's similar to Daniel Allen's. I'd love for you to check it out. This, and that. And it was like, all right, this guy's like this guy knows what to do. Like I bet on people. I like buying collections from people who know and understand the hustle for the most part.
Bro,
And
bro.
and I remember just accepting it shortly after. Even you see, like you messaged me at 146. I accepted it at 155. I'm like, I
Mhm.
bought, like that's like I love that. Where does that come from? Where does this like hustle energy come from?
Bro, it like that ass. It like it, personally for me, like I'm like a real like cutting out the middleman type of guy. So I want to build with like people one on one. So it was one of those things where man, like it was just this knack that I've always had that it's like, no, I want to go directly to the person. So even before like Web3, I was like, me and my friend Brandon, like we were fucking scouring the internet for emails and editors to hit up and pitch publicate like pitch to the publications and shit like that. So when I tell you like I found every email for like the co-founders of Fader and the president of Fader, and I emailed all of them and they got back to me like just on some like some so I was like what the fuck. So now like I have a very good relationship with Andy Cohen, who is the former president of Fader, to the point where like I'm still getting like free Fader magazines and shit like that, just all
Wow.
based off of my professionalism when when I'm contacting people, because I don't want to ever feel like I'm not like asking for anything. I'm more so trying to build a relationship with you more so than anything. So that's why a lot of the times when I was sending out all those DMs, I was letting people know like, hey, I'm taking a shot in the dark here. Like I don't normally do this, but I'm just going out on a whim. And I just really, if it connected, I was never like pushing people to just buy it. I was letting them know like, hey, if the story resonates with you, if you fuck with me, and you feel like, man, okay, I want to back this kid, I want to support what he's got going on, then boom, we go from there, we build from there.
So check this
So,
out. So I reference your DM when artists ask me what's the best way to find collectors and to build your name. I always reference your DM. I send them a screenshot of the DM that you sent me because that was a great DM and it got me to buy. And typically people would get very uncomfortable doing that, right?
yeah.
The discomfort of feeling like you're bothering someone, the discomfort of feeling like you might get rejected or whatever the insecurity may be. But you just like I assume you just fired off to a bunch of people.
Oh, what? Fucking you know how many crowd funds I looked at to like, bro, when I tell you, this is the different, like, I don't know, like, I get in this mode where it's like, okay, if I have to make something happen, I'm going to try my best to make it happen. And 9 times out of 10, I damn near make it happen. So I was like, I know what I priced my NFTs for on my crowd fund. So I checked other crowd funds and I was looking at people who bought at that same price point. And I was like, um,
Mm,
I didn't look at who had more ETH to buy, or if you spent 5 ETH on a crowd fund. I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at the people who were spending point 0.1 or 0.25. You feel me? And I was contacting them. So I was like, hey, like, this is what I have going on in the space. I'm new to the space. I'm trying to learn myself around the space. And this is just what I have going on. And this is my story. And if you fuck with me and you wanna contribute to what I have going on, I fucking greatly appreciate it. And show enough, like damn near like, 9 times out of 10, majority of people got back to me. Some people didn't, which is like, it happens because it's a shot in the dark shit. But you won't know until you
you
try
know,
it for real.
I really resonate with that as a podcaster. My part of my job is just to consistently reach out to people,
Facts.
and to try to stay competitive and get better guests on. And there's even sometimes situations where I reach out to people for a year and they
Mm-hmm.
ignore all my messages. They ignore
Mm-hmm.
all my messages until they finally reply to one. And that's after a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of people that come into this space as well, like new independent artists, even like people who come from the label background, I always tell them everybody's here to make friends. Everybody wants to hear your story. You
Yeah,
just need to have that persistence. You need to have that drive to be able to know how to chase it, essentially.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And man, that hustle, that initiative, that it's like a little tinker. I come from where I come from is also like plays a big part in like why I am how I am, and nothing was ever given, nothing would ever
Mm,
be given, especially like in the hood, in the trenches and shit like that. So you really kind of gotta you know get out there and get your own. My mom always
yeah.
told me shit like, you have to go through your own bumps and bruises throughout life. Like everybody has to go through that. So no matter what you go through, like, I don't know, man, you gotta to make it in this world, you gotta have some type of fucking hustle about you, some type of grind. For real. Like you really do. And I used to pitch pennies for Pokemon cards. Like it was like kind of embedded in me like at a very,
Mm.
very young age. Like we were gambling for Pokemon cards. So like what the fuck? Like it was
What is an outreach then? That's
yeah, like,
nothing. Yeah. So
like for real.
let's talk about Danger Zone for a sec, okay? Because that was that iconic crowdfund that helped put your name on the map in Web3. I remember it was around the time where other artists attempted to do crowdfunds. Some failed, some succeeded. Yours was one of them that kind of like succeeded and did really well. Then you got onto different platforms, and you've actually like built a name for yourself in the space, right? And I actually really
Yeah.
enjoy your music. Even more recently, you have a new project going on with membership NFT cards that we'll get to in a minute. And there's so much to talk about, but I wanna wind it back. Okay. The Mirror crowdfund, the Danger Zone crowdfund, the one that I got the DM about. How did that come together? Why did you feel like Web3 was the perfect platform to do that? Beyond the ability to raise money, okay? Beyond the ability
Yeah.
to see that how artists were getting liberated creatively. Maybe that is a core reason. I don't know. But is there any like what's the story behind that?
Man, it was literally a whim. Like it was another shot in the dark. So when I got told about NFTs, I started building out the well, before even NFTs, I started building out the logo for Danger Zone in general, which is the skeleton with the thunderbolt over his head. So once I really established that as the logo, I hit up my 3D designer, and I told him like, hey, I would like to turn this into a coin. So we made one coin at first, and this was just like I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do with the coin for real. And then it kind of gradually, everything graduated. That's kind of like what happened. Everything literally fucking graduated from being this into like this. So we started with one coin at first, and in my mind, this was early in the year. This was like early March, and the crowdfunding dropped into October. So I was already working on like the assets and didn't even know what the fuck I was going to do with them until it came time to actually do what needed to be done with them. So the first my whole game plan at first was like, okay, I'm building utility around these coins. I'm trying to figure out how I want to release them, where I want to release them, and what price point to release them at. And I was going to drop each coin on OpenSea and just kind of push it out that way, and just kind of figure out how I can tell my story through OpenSea with the coins and have people still kind of see it all at once. And it just didn't really make sense on it just didn't the way to do that. I just didn't really see a vision for that, for people to actually be resonating with me as a person if I only dropped them on OpenSea. So stepping back a little bit, we when I realized what was going on in this space, we went from one coin to 10 coins because I was like, hey, let's make a couple different variations of them. And he was like, all right, bet. So we made like 10 coins total. We dropped three on the crowdfund. And we released a couple other ones throughout, like some, not incentivizing people, but more so like rewarding people, because I want the coins to have, like, the coins will have future utility. That's why I'm kind of like only letting them out through like specific, I'm only giving them to people through like specific um what I want to say, interactions.
Got
So
it.
people who contributed to, I did a party bid. It was my first party bid ever. I would say the party bid was like way more stressful to fund and get started than a crowd fund, weirdly. But um I didn't incentivize anybody to contribute to the crowd. I mean, to contribute to party bit. I was more just kind of like pushing and promoting it. Then when it got funded and the bid got started, I we airdropped everybody a silver coin. But jumping back to the crowdfund, yeah. So basically, I'm gonna jump forward a little bit. So
No, and it's so interesting because I know this story is so big, and I know the prep behind it is so big. So hearing all the intricate details is amazing.
oh, bro, because it's like when I tell people it was a lot, it was a lot, and it was like it took so long to kind of piece together. And I feel like how everything came together was within God's speed and God's time. Everything hit right when it was supposed to hit. I hit up another 3D designer to make the full size skeleton. And he had only made the full size skeleton like the podium NFTs, and those were the free NFTs. So
Mm,
I hit him up. I want to say like when I realized that I was going to do mirror, I hit him up like super last minute, like, hey, can we do two more poses? Because I need three poses for the podium NFTs for the top three people who win the podium. So he managed to get me the fucking, and I told him like I need them by October 1st. So this was like November like 27th or 28th or some shit like that when I had hit him. And he was like, man, I'll try to get them to you within that time frame. Like, it's no promises, but I'll try. So all the assets hit directly on time. I had all the coins I needed to figure out which coins I wanted to release. I had the
mm,
podium NFTs at the same time to figure out which ones I wanted to put up. And and then jumping back a little bit, I seen how I even found out about Mirror. I seen Daniel Allen's crowdfund. I want to say one random night. I think the night that he dropped it, and I was like, wow. And I was like, damn, like that's how you feel me. That's how you tell a story. Very intricate, very detailed, very informational. He hit it on the mark right out the fucking gate, and I was like, damn. And he was giving
yeah.
up what he was giving away was kind of similar to what I was doing also. So I was like, okay, we both were thinking about this idea. So those next 3 to 4 days, I wrote out my whole crowdfund. Like I didn't have anything written prior to that, but once I seen his, I started writing my crowdfund. Oh, first, I want to figure out how to get on Mirror, and at this time, you could not get on Mirror without a right token.
Right, right.
So I did my right race pitch, and I was still new to the community. I wasn't really on Twitter like that for real. So when I did my pitch, of course I got zero upvotes except the 10 I gave myself. So I didn't I did,
Hey,
got
man,
like
if you're not gonna
um
support yourself, then who will?
I'm like shit, I gotta make some shit. So I gave myself my 10 upvotes, and then the day after Daniel Allen's crowdfund, I believe that's when Mirror opened. The first tool that they opened up to the public was fucking crowdfund.
Mm,
And I was like, gunned it. I just gunned it. I just went for it. I was in the fucking discords. I was in them heavy, and I was just figuring out, okay, what to do, what I need to do. When I seen them open up the tool, I shot. I went on there. I was typing day and night. I didn't go to sleep till like 6 in the morning, waking up at like 10, start hopping right back on the computer, writing it out. I'm not a very good writer, so I was using like this tool to help me write each sentence and shit like that. Like I was like making it to where that like it'll reword my sentence in a way that I wanted it to sound and come off, because I'm not like that great of a writer. So um that helped me a shit ton. And bro, yeah, my lady didn't like fuck with me at the time. My son
mm,
was all up my ass because I was like on the computer just fucking typing away day in and day out
wow.
up until, so I think Daniel Allen released his crowdfund like November 25th or 26th. Crowdfunding opened the 27th, and I dropped my crowdfund on the 1st of October.
What's up, guys? Adam Levy here. Sorry for the quick pause, but I wanted to recognize a couple of our NFT sponsors who are helping make this episode a reality. They are Coinvise and Mint Songs. First up, on Coinvise, you can create a personal or community-owned social token on Ethereum. Coinvise also helps you create incentives through token rewards and bounties, NFT business models, and bot integrations for Discord. Discover more by visiting coinvise.co today. Next up, we've got Mint Songs, a community curated marketplace for one-of-one music NFTs minted on Ethereum. Mint Songs connects music lovers and collectors with artists that want to build unique one-to-one relationships with their fans through music. To join as an artist, you will need to be invited by an existing artist or an existing collector within the Mint Songs community. Check out the artists pioneering the future of Web3 music today by visiting mintsongs.com. All right, back to the episode. So tell me more about the team behind that, because it after you've been in the space for a while and you educate yourself and you're participating in crowdfunds or in discords, you can kind of get a holistic view of what's going on and try to navigate it potentially individually. But in the beginning, if you're new to the space, you need helping hands. What was your experience with that?
It was me. It was just me.
Was it?
It was just me. So my producers, Aaron and Brandon, they wasn't really in the space,
Huh.
like, for real. So when I even did the crowdfund, I wasn't like, I did it so fast that I was so locked in that I wasn't even able to tell them about it. So I told them like after it was all done and it was launched. So prior to that, it was literally just me, just straight me. It was the grind that I had to get on discords and stay up on them day in and day out, talking to people, just politicking and just being me, for real, hopping in Twitter Spaces,
So how do you find the time between creating and then doing all the other stuff that you need to do as a creator in crypto?
bro.
Because like everybody loves you for your music, right? But you also have that, you need to have that entrepreneurship mind. You need to have the operational mindset. You need to have the administrative mindset. You need to wear all these different hats, and that could actually take away from like your creative energy that you use to kind of build up your name as who you are today.
It's a balance. I guess I would say it's really a balance. It's knowing when to cut it off and when to cut it on, because when you cut it on, you give yourself, let's say, like, okay, I'll give myself probably like a week of straight connecting and politicking and reaching out to people, and then I'll set aside a time to actually work on music, because for so long I've been disconnected from my music. So whenever I get the time to do it, I go full force with it. And once we got the crowdfund funded, we actually, my producer is from Scotland, Aaron. He's actually from Scotland, so he came up to the States and we worked on an album for a whole month to finish, fully finish it out, excuse me, get it mastered, get it mixed, re-record everything we needed to re-record, remix everything that we needed to remix. Because again, well, first, we've been working on this album for like the past 6 years. So Danger Zones has been in a work since like fucking 2017, 2018. We've made a song like one to two songs every like 1 or 2 years or some shit like that. And then as time went on, it propelled to become this project that it is today. So for the longest time, I didn't have time to sit with my music and create and stuff like that. So I had actually more leisure time to jump into Web3 and the business side, because I wasn't in that creative mode as frequently as I would have wanted to be. So I just took the time to just politic and grow and build and connect with people for real. And so it kind of worked out for me. But it's balance. That's what it really is. It's balance, and knowing the time to shut it off and knowing the time to shut it and cut it on.
Let me
Um,
ask you, why do you think NFTs are such a good medium for music artists? Like, what is it about it that allows the individual to get liberated beyond the crowdfunding, right? In the form of distribution, in the form of fandom, and all these different components that would otherwise be more or less controlled by maybe a middleman in Web2, for example. Like, how do you think about that?
freedom, freedom to do what you want to do, and building a team around you as the artist, and not having to cater to any company or association and no shit like that. It's the freedom at the end of the day. It's the freedom that I can release any song that I want to release, whether I make it on a phone memo or I make it in my fucking bathroom or whatever. I can release that and people would still appreciate it the same way that they appreciate something being fully mastered and mixed on iTunes or Spotify, some shit like that. And getting and because I don't ever like to talk numbers. So it's pretty much that, getting the respect, giving the respect to the artist and letting them be the artist they want to be, and not holding them back in no way, form, or fashion. And when you build a team around just the artist, you kind of see like how much happier the artist is, how much less stressful he is when you have a management team that's like being able to, man, like, what I want to say, navigate for you when you do have a lot of family shit
Mhm.
going on, when you do have, very important just real life shit happening, and the weight of a label isn't weighing down on you because it's like, no, you don't have to, I don't have to cater to you guys. Like, this is my career and I'm moving at the pace that I'm moving at. And
Mhm.
I have a team around me that's making sure that if they're not moving at my pace, they're moving faster than me, because they're always making sure that whatever happens is in good faith and good favor of my career and stuff like that, while I'm dealing with real life stuff. So when I'm able to jump back into what I need to jump back into, it's like I never left.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what I like about it. And that's what I think that it means, for a lot of us artists, and we all talk about it all the time. And it's just the freedom, man, the freedom, bro, for real. Because without that, like, we get held down and we get stressed and we get in this depressive stage or state and shit like that, and we kind of just ball up and curl and go away,
Right.
and don't really you know and don't really have the time to, when we do that, we're missing out. If we don't have a team around us already, we're missing out on opportunities that's to come. You feel me? So if I'm, shutting down and shutting out and I don't have a team around me, I didn't build this team around me, then I'm like stifling myself in my career once again, because, that's what's happened before, where I'll get depressed and not be reaching out to people and not be connecting and keeping these relationships up, because
Right.
that's what matters. And then once they fall, it's over with. But I have a team around me that could keep the relationships up while I'm dealing with myself and my family and shit like that. And I'm dealing with, you know, whatever it is. And those relationships are still being kept up at a high level because of the team around me. That's just, and I come back and it's like, okay, cool. Like, bro's been talking to you, Isaiah's been talking to you, Aaron's been talking to you. Cool. I'm just, now it's just following me up and getting me back in the loop of things for real. So
Yeah.
that's what I like about it the most.
Part of tokenizing your music is like introducing the financialization of your art to the world, right?
Yeah.
And being able to do that in a way where you now introduce another element to your music that otherwise wouldn't have existed in traditional music, right? Being able to bet on you as an artist and then being able to trade off that and actually have upside as you grow, as you develop, whether it be a speculative growth, whether it be an actual data proven growth, whatever it may be, you have that now, you know. But
Hmm.
one thing as a collector that kind of prevents me from selling an asset, even if I see an opportunity to sell, or whether it's an asset or a song, however you want to define it, is me leaving the community and no longer supporting the creator once I sell that NFT, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is super interesting because you introduced a new concept, and I don't know if it's new, but you're one of the first few people that I've seen actually implement this concept of membership NFTs, but doing it in a way where you're recognizing your collectors, you're sending them this little card, right, that sits in their wallet and allows you to kind of recognize that they were an early supporter, even if they were to sell the NFT, because that's part of the game that the collector plays, right? And you
Exactly.
recognize that as a creator, right? Can you talk more about that? Why, like, what was your mentality and mental model behind introducing the membership NFT? They actually came out really beautifully designed as well. So props to your team. Can you
Yes.
can you walk me through that?
Shout out Isaiah. He's management, and he man, that guy fucking doesn't sleep at all, man. It was a idea that was actually brought to me, and I kind of like I thought it was, amazing to kind of do, because my big Isaiah knows that my biggest thing is making sure that the people who supported me from the start, like, y'all have my heart. You feel me? So it's like, I'm very appreciative, and I don't want no one ever feeling like they're not being appreciated when they supported me
Mm,
and, put their faith and belief behind me, because that's not, I've experienced it before. That's not something anybody has to ever do. So you can get told no, you can get told that I don't fuck with your music, I don't fuck with you as a person, this, that, and the third. But when you do, that's why I, want to keep the gratitude going and keep it rolling, because yeah, I want people to make money. I want people to, I want my floor to rise. I want people to be able to feel like they made a good investment, even if their initial reason for backing something wasn't for even an investment or anything like that. So if you're able to make money off the coin that, that you bought, and still get the perks from the from everything and being a day one supporter. I feel like that's like, it's, you got your cake and you're eating it too. And I feel like that's what's going to make a lot of people feel a lot more valued in the long run than just like, oh damn, like, okay, like you said, I have to leave this community after I really fuck with this artist, I fuck with what he's doing, but hey, I might want to sell this piece. And I don't want people to be having to, I don't want to give people the ultimatum to be like, oh, like, no, damn, do I want to sell it? Do I not? Nah, like, do what you want to do, but hey, this is what's going to happen. Even for like the collectors on sound, like my first like 50 to 70 collectors on sound, my collectors on catalog, the party bid contributors and stuff like that. I feel like all of you guys have been like helping build the brand, the Ibn and Glor brand, the Danger Zone brand, and I appreciate it deeply. So this is me showing my appreciation and the NFT way, the Web3 way, for
Yeah,
real.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess when you were putting together this card, right, as a way to recognize these collectors, as a way to incentivize participation, but also the ability to trade off your art, right? Essentially,
Yeah.
did you use any like references in developing that? Did you have like any, I guess, any fear in doing something like that? Like any concerns came to mind? And the only reason I ask because I think it's such a good model that other people should be replicating. And I want to strip this thing down and kind of like break it down even more.
No, we had no worries. It was nothing that was we didn't really I can't say that we what's the word I'm looking for? I can't say that we were inspired by any other cards and nothing like that. We kind of was just like trying to figure out, because when I have my head down and I'm focused and stuff like that, it's more so just like, okay, what can we create? Original. We know like membership NFTs was something that was already floating around the space and stuff like that, but we
Hmm.
were just trying to see how we can do it for ourselves. So when we came up with the designs for it, it was like, okay, well, for the crowdfund backers and contributors, let's just make it the album cover because this is the album that they contributed to. And then for every other collector on all the other spaces, let's just use their logo to kind of symbolize, let the association is what um I like to what we talked about it, but I also like to make descriptive, in a
Mm,
way. So it's like um, you backed. This is this. So I don't know what I'm trying to say. For me and for anybody in the space, they'll know exactly what you contributed to at the beginning. So
mm,
whether it was catalog, whether it was sound, whether it was the crowd fund, they know where you stand in the collector base. Um, no matter where you go. So that's why I wanted to make it specific on each platform instead of just making one NFT card, membership card, and just like dishing it out that way. It was like, no, I want to make it specific because certain people, it was only 16 people that contributed to the party bit. I want them 16 people to feel, you know, special in their way because is the love is reciprocated. So I want them to
right.
feel special in that way. And then it was 42 people in the crowd fund that was the first believers in the space. You feel me? So no, I want you guys to know that this is specifically for you, and then so forth and so on. But yeah, it was something that we thought about on long and hard, and like if we really wanted to do it and stuff like that, and of trying to figure out how we can build it all into the experience of buying the album and minting the album and stuff like that. So when we got like down to the nitty gritty, it was like, okay, bet everyone who's holding their membership NFT card can, because a lot of people love token gated access. A lot of people love token gating. And I feel like that's another thing that's going to help push the artist brands and the true believers is making it building the world around the artist and making it so where that you can't access unless you've contributed in a way.
Right.
So, um, yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
having that and having that be like something that people hold dear to their heart. That's what really mattered to me. That's what I really fuck with for real. So yeah,
I I love your focus on bringing value back to collectors and creating unique experiences and showing appreciation. Um,
yeah,
it's not something to take for granted when somebody drops $150, $300. uh,
bro.
on supporting. Like that's typically like a concert ticket, right? To like a really like well-known artist, for example, right?
Exactly.
Most people in the traditional music industry will spend like 20 to 50 bucks on a t-shirt, right? But you've created a way to, I don't know, I really recognize your
No,
willingness to create
no,
interesting experiences for your collectors and
no.
recognizing their support early on.
I really appreciate it because it's it was just on the tip of my tongue, but it was one. It's like every time I sell an NFT, like I don't take it for granted because this is not, a place where it's just supposed to happen. You're not
Mhm.
supposed to sell an NFT, so don't feel obligated that this is just what you're supposed to be doing. Like, no, take every NFT that you sell, don't take it for granted. Take it like
Mm.
to heart because you cannot sell another one and you need to move and work as if you won't sell another one. And that's how I like to move because it's one of those. I come from a man, my background, bro. Like this shit. Like I'm I'm very appreciative of this whole space and community, like deeply. So, and I really care about the space and I care about the integrity of the space. So, yeah, whenever shit like me selling a NFT happens, I'm more than grateful, more than
We love
grateful
it.
because it could be like I can go, I feel like a lot of people misunderstand this space and they see the numbers that people are making and they feel like they could come into this space and make $10,000, $15,000 off one song
Overnight.
that it is.
Yeah.
Nobody, no. And then I've seen a lot of people try to get into the space and get discouraged that they didn't get the support that they wanted, that they thought they were going to get out the gate because of what they've been seeing. So it's like, but I don't know, man. I get so frustrated with that shit. It make me so mad. But because people feel like they're leaving money on the table, and it's like, how are you leaving money on the table that's not yours on a table that's not yours? So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how are you? How is that happening? How is that possible? So,
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah, man,
recognize, man, you're really commemorating like the moment, and I think it's something super special. I'm excited to see how you kind of progress in the space and what you do next. Before I let you go, and we wrap this up, where can we find you, and what can we expect from you next?
man, across the board, IBN INGLOR, IBN INGLOR. Um, you can expect, I want to say, music videos coming from the Danger Zone album. The a world being built around Danger Zone. Danger Zone is Altgeld Gardens. I'm from Altgeld Gardens. I'm from the trenches. I'm from the hood. So whenever you hear Danger Zone, you know that it's associated with Altgeld Gardens. I am ready to jump into my love for gaming and my esports stuff and doing a lot of work in that field because outside of music, I game heavy. And then also the one of the biggest things that we're going to do once the album is available for men, man, one of the things I'm really excited about is the scholarship fund. Doing the Danger Zone Dow Scholarship Fund, giving back to my community, giving back to the kids that's from my hood that graduate from my high school, giving them the opportunity to have a scholarship for any in-state university on coding. So doing that to also bring
Wow.
more people into Web3 and also bring because we want to bring more builders into the community. We want to bring more people into the community. We want
Mm,
them to know like what's going on in the space and shit like that. So giving them a scholarship for computer sciences, it's something that I'm like, let's do that. That's what I want to do. But you have to graduate and you have to graduate and you have to be from the gardens. I take pride in my high school because my class, the class of 2011, when I first got to Carver, my high school was Carver. I went to a military academy. So my first my first my class when we first got to high school, when we first got to Carver, Carver was on academic probation. So the school was about to get shut down. So bro, I'm like, so our class was the class to get our school off of academic probation. And now Carver is one of the top schools in the city right now, top military schools in the city right now.
mm.
So it's come on, man. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm fucking. I've never been like a real preachy guy or running for mayor type of guy. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. But it's like I really fuck with my school, and I really fuck with my community. Like, I fuck with where I'm from. Like, my family is damn near like one of the founding families of the Gardens. Like, we've been like the high school I graduated from. My mom, my uncles, my aunties all graduated from the same fucking high
Wow.
school. Like,
Wow.
like it's crazy. We've been in the Gardens that long. Like that shit. Wow.
Man, I love that. I love your mentality and your willingness to give back and not forgetting where you came from. I think it's a really unique trait that will allow you to go further and further and further and not get too lost in the sauce, as I like to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Because you can get a lot of people can get really caught up in the day to day of what they do, but it seems like you're always finding a way to kind of bring it back to where it was,
Have
uh,
to.
and, and just continuously remember where you're from. And I love that. I love these initiatives. I love also the esports take on kind of showing the world a side of you beyond music, and that you are a human and you are very approachable and you love doing shit just
Oh,
like every other person does. It really,
anime, movies.
yeah, man, it normalizes the experience. We love to see it.
Hell yeah. Overwatch. I play Overwatch and Genshin Impact. Warzone occurs, but I'm like I'm really big on like first person shooters. So
There you
yeah,
go.
y'all. Hey,
Ivan, this was great, man. Thank you so much for being on. We're gonna have to do this again soon.
yeah,
But till next time, keep killing it, and we'll chat soon.
you as well.